Today on our 2018 GMC Acadia, we're going to be installing Roadmaster's Diode wiring kit, part number RM-15267. To complete our flat toe setup on our 2018 GMC Acadia, we used Roadmaster's EZ5 baseplate kit, Roadmaster's Diode wiring kit, SMI's Stay and Play Duo supplemental braking system, and Demco Dominator tow bars. This diode wiring kit is going to allow you to hook up your vehicle behind your RV and get all that necessary lighting signals transferred from your RV back to the lights on the back of your vehicle. Also included with the kit, you get your 6-pole connector, which is the interface that allows your vehicle to connect to your RV, and you get the 6-pole to 7-pole cable that connects those two together. The diodes that are connected into your tail lamp circuit ensures that the signals coming from your RV don't backfeed into your vehicle circuitry. It's only sent straight to the bulbs. We'll begin our installation by removing both our driver's and passenger side tail lamp assemblies. To remove those, you're going to want to pop out the little plastic covers exposing the screws. We're just going to use a flat bladed screwdriver to do this. We'll then remove both bolts with a T15 Torx socket. We can then pull our tail lamp assembly towards the rear to remove it. If you're having difficulties, you can use a trim panel remover tool to get between the tail lamp assembly and the body and pry it rearward. Now we'll disconnect our connector, pry up on the small locking tab, and then press in on the release tab and pull the tail lamp assembly away. We'll now repeat this same process on the other side. Now we're going to take a piece of airline tubing. We're going to feed that down through our opening here until it comes out the bottom. So just keep feeding it, and eventually you'll get it to pop out the bottom. You might have to go down there and kind of help it a little bit. And we'll be using this to feed our wiring down. We'll take our wiring, we're going to cut the green wire to separate it from the rest of our wiring. We're just going to pull that back quite a ways so that way we can feed up our wiring while excluding the green one, because that's going to go to our other side. Tape your wiring to the pull wire that you fed down. We'll use that to feed it on up. We'll be making connections to our wiring here. We're going to strip it back so we can access that wiring. Separate each of the wires now, and then strip back each of these wires. We'll now cut both the gray and purple wire and the yellow and green wire, and strip back each end of those wires. We'll then take off all the spade terminals on our diode. One will have a yellow, all the other ones will have nothing but blue. We'll be using the yellow on this side, but for now we're going to use only blue and crimp a blue onto each one of these wires on the vehicle. We're going to then crimp the blue one onto our yellow wire. And the yellow one we're going to crimp onto both the brown and white wire. So you're twisting those together and crimping this on both. We can now hook up our diodes. The violet and gray wires are going to be for your tail lamp signal. So we're going to plug the vehicle side into one of the ends. We'll then plug our brown and white into the other side of the in. Then we'll plug the connector side of the violet and gray into the out. We'll hook up our other diode very similarly. Due to the short length of wire we have to work with, I'm going to go ahead and peel off those adhesive backings, stick them together. We'll plug the yellow and green wire into the out on the connector side. And on the other side, we'll plug the yellow and green into the in, and our yellow wire into the other in. And then we can reinstall our taillight assembly. Now, due to lack of space that we're going to have in here, I do recommend that you pop that connector off. That'll give you a little more wiggle room on how you can install your wiring behind your tail lamp assembly. And then we're going to plug it back in. Notice the line there, that's going to line up with the line on your connector. We'll now need to separate our wiring from the white wire. So we're going to go ahead and just cut between those to separate that. We're just separating the white wire as we're going to need to run it and the green wire up into our passenger side tail lamp assembly. So you're going to take the white wire, you're going to run it over and just kind of hold it up to see that you've got enough length to get up into your tail lamp assembly on the passenger side. We'll then cut the wire once we know we've assured ourselves that we've got enough length. We're then going to route the green and the white wire over towards our passenger side. Once we've got it over there, we're going to use that same fish wire trick that we did before and pull it up into our passenger side tail lamp area. We'll pull our wiring up and we can connect it just like we did on the other side. We're now going to cut the gray and brown and the green and brown wire on the passenger side. We'll then strip back each end of each wire that we just cut, as well as the green and white wire that we fed up here on our passenger side, and crimp on one blue spade terminal onto each wire that we just stripped back over here. We're then going to plug the brown and green wire on the connector end into one of the outs on our diode, and then on the in we're going to plug in the other brown and green, and we're going to plug our green wire in. Then for our other diode, we're again going to stick those together due to our space limitations. We'll plug the gray and brown into the out. The other end of our gray and brown on the vehicle side is going to plug into our in. And our white wire will plug into the other in. We'll pull our wire loose in our taillight assembly just like we did on the other side. Plug it back in. And reinstall this tail lamp assembly as well. We can now zip tie up the little bit of excess that we might have. Make sure everything run across is nice and clean. And we're now going to route our wiring up into our engine compartment. I'm going to route that wire now, and then I'll show you the path that I took to get there. We began by routing our wiring down by our heat shield here, making sure to stay away from the exhaust on the other side of that heat shield. Up over our rear suspension. Here we went down alongside the fuel tank. And right here, just below the frame, next to the fuel tank, there's a good railing location where we can connect our ground wire. That's going to be the white wire that was still remaining on the rest of the wire that we routed up to the front. So we can hook this right here using the self-tapping screw provided in the kit. Strip back the wire, then crimp on your ring terminal. Use an 8mm socket to run in the screw. We then continued on down by our fuel tank, up next to our charcoal canister, continuing forward, and we zip tied it right to our brake line connector there. We used a piece of fish line then from the engine compartment going down next to our brake lines, where we can tape our wire to that and use it to pull it up to get it into our engine compartment. We'll pull our wiring up. It's a good idea to check down below just to make sure that there's no wiring still hanging down, it didn't get caught on anything. We're then going to start routing our wiring from our engine compartment here down over to where our 6-pole connector is going to go. It's always good to leave yourself a little bit of excess so you can pull it out in case you need to do some maintenance. But we don't need this much excess, so we're going to cut off some of this. We'll then separate each wire and strip each wire back. Slide the boot over your wiring. We'll then connect our wiring to our 6-pole connector. Starting with the one labeled TM, we're going to unscrew the screw. TM is going to be our tail lamp signal, which is our brown wire. So we'll poke our brown wire down in there and tighten the screw down. Next we look up ground, which is GD, and the white wire. Left turn signal, which is the yellow wire. And the right turn signal, which is our green wire. Now at this point you could put some dielectric grease on here, slide on your cap and tape it up. We do have more wiring that we're going to need to run here for some other kits that we're doing for this flat toe setup, so we're not going to be doing that at this time. And to finish up, you will mount your 6-pole connector to your base plate. There are 2 self-tapping screws that should have come with your base plate. We're going to tighten those down with an 8mm socket to hold it in place. Now that we've got our vehicle hooked up to our RV, we'll verify that we've got our left turn signal, right turn signal, brake lamps, and tail lamps. And with everything working properly, we know our diode kit's been successfully installed and we're ready to hit the road. And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's diode wiring kit on our 2018 GMC Acadia.